Hey everybody, Sneaky Narcotic, back at it again with another YouTube video. And in today's video, guys, I have some wonderful Zendikar Rising spoilers to show y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the video. There's so many spoilers to get to, so the first one here is Shell Shield. 1 blue mana, instant common, kicker, 1 generic. You may pay an additional 1 generic as you cast this spell. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, that creature also gains hexproof until end of turn. So, I had this card just to show y'all that kicker is coming back, and I'm really happy about that, because it used to be, I think, in one of the older Zendikars, but it was in Dominaria, and I really didn't like it in Dominaria, because the whole fact of the point is kicker is supposed to be this, like, really good utility. You can go ahead and do this, or if you wait a little bit and pay a little bit more mana, you can do this. And Dominaria didn't really have that too much. In my opinion, y'all might be different than I, but in my opinion, it really didn't have that too much. The next card here, Murasa Root Grazer. 1 green, 1 white for a creature, beast, uncommon, vigilance. Tap it, you may put a basic land card from your hand onto the battlefield, or you can tap it, return target basic land you control to its owner's hand. Few other creatures so closely embody Murasa's rapid cycles of growth, and it is a 2/3. 2/3 with Vigilance is pretty good, because then you can use it to attack, you can use it to block. The other really good thing is that you can at instant speed return a land to your hand or put a land down. And that's really good when we have all this landfall. And honestly, if I can give a prediction, there is landfall in this. In the colors, I think landfall is really going to achieve is going to be bent, which is blue, white, and green. So this card was possibly going to see play in standard, if not have maybe a position in a landfall deck in Commander. This is the first of what they're calling modal DSCs, or modal double-sided cards. This is a land or a instant on the other side. It can either be Valakut Stoneforge or Valakut Awakening, whatever you decide from your hand. So Valakut Stoneforge is basically a mountain that comes in tapped. I can hear the echo of their hammers. Long Steeled, Tars Olan, Stoneforge, Mystic. The other side of it, of course, is Valakut Awakening. It is 2 generic and a red for an instant rare. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards +1. So it's a wheel in standard, and that's pretty cool. It's really cool. My ancestors reshaped the world to their vision. I have a few ideas of my own. Tars Olan, Stoneforge, Mystic. Ruin Crab. 1 blue mana, creature, crab, uncommon. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards, and it is a 0/3 milling landfallen crab. It's honestly kind of funny, and I'm sure they did this on purpose, but me and my buddy were talking about Hedron Crab the other day, right before they dropped this card. And Hedron Crab does something really similar. It was from one of the last Zendikars, and it instead says target player, so you can target yourself. So it's really fun that they have this, and just when we already have Turbo Mill in Standard, they put this in here, and I think that's really good. It's really good that you're going to be able to add this to a Turbo Mill deck. Blood Chief's Thirst. 1 black mana for a sorcery uncommon with a kicker of 2 generic and a black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 2 or less. If this spell was kicked, instead destroy target creature or planeswalker. We're free! It is our duty to live well. So, the only thing I really have to say about this card, other than the fact that the only CMC 2 or less planeswalker I know is freaking Tibalt, and they're hopefully not going to bring him back. But I really would much rather play Swift End than this card. But if I couldn't play Swift End, then this could at least be a decent card for 4 mana. You could destroy a target creature or planeswalker. Eaten Alive kind of does the same thing, if I'm not mistaken, except for its exile. So I really don't see this getting full-on play in Standard. Yes. The best card from the set, hands down, no takesy backsies, Lotus Cobra. 1 generic, 1 green, creature snake rare, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color, and it is a 2/1. So this is a card that most collectors are kicking themselves for keeping so long, and some of us that wanted to collect this card, wanted to get this card for Commander, finally have the opportunity to with this reprint. I'm really happy to see it come back. For those that don't know, this is a huge piece in a landfall commander deck, as well as with it being in Standard and being able to play a full playset of Lotus Cobra. Just the amount of land you're going to be able to generate, like, let's say, without the idea of ramping, per se, because, you know, you can ramp and get even more mana out. But let's talk about using Lotus Cobra on turn. You get 2 of them out, right? So turn 3, you have 2 of them out. Turn 4, you untap. You still have a land in your hand. You put it down. Well, you had 4 lands, or 3 lands, and then you put this one down. Now you have a 4th land available, plus 2 mana of any color. That's 6 lands, and you can imagine how ridiculous that can be when you can have more Lotus Cobras on top of more Lotus Cobras. So I really enjoy that they put this back in Standard, and I'm so sorry to all you collectors out there that, you know, we're really hoping that they would never reprint this card. Omnath, Locust of Creation, 1 red, 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue for a legendary creature, elemental mythic rare. When Omnath, Locust of Creation, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Okay. Landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it's the second time, add red, green, white, or blue, and blue. If it's the third time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. And it is a 4/4 for 4 mana. So I like the Omnath got a 4th color. That's awesome. But the other good thing about this is that I actually forgot about this until I realized what a fetch land does. So we have Evolving Wilds and Fabled Passage, I believe, are going to still be in Standard. And so you can put Fabled Passage down, gain 4 life. Then you can go search for another land, put that land down and place a Fabled Passage, and add 4 mana to your mana pool. Yes, that is pretty good. Pretty good. Not to mention also in Commander, if you have Burgeoning down, you can continuously gain 4 life every single turn of your opponents, as well as yours. And that's really good if you continue to have lands, I mean, but still, really, really good. I'm really excited for this Omnath. A 4-color elemental deck sounds fun. A 4-color landfall deck sounds fun. So I'm probably going to grab me at least 1 copy of Omnath Locust of Creation. Shepherd of Heroes. 4 generic and a white creature angel cleric. It is a common. It has flying. When Shepherd of Heroes enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature in your party. And yes, this is one of the 2 new mechanics. Parties consist of up to 1 of each of Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, and Wizard. Rest, friends, I will protect you. And it is a 3/4. It's just to say that for 5 mana, you can get a Flying Angel Cleric with a 3/4 that instantly gains you 2 life for being a Cleric, but can also gain you some more life on top of that. That's kind of good. Acquisitions Expert. 1 generic, 1 black creature, human rogue, uncommon. When Acquisitions Expert enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals a number of cards from their hand equal to the number of creatures in your party. You choose one of those cards. That player discards that card. And it's a 1/2. I really don't have much to say about this card other than that there's other better discard cards in Standard right now, and probably still after the cycle. So I just don't really see this card being played. It's no Kite Self reboot, okay? It's no Kite Self rebooter. Our next card is Tajuru, Beacon of Unity, and it is a 4 generic, 1 white, 5 colored legendary creature human warrior. Yes, that's right, 5 color commander. Mythic rare, this spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each creature in your party, up to only costing you 1 white mana, as well as being able to discount up to 4 on your commander tags. And then its ability costs 2 hybrid or a blue, 2 hybrid or a black, 2 hybrid or a red, 2 hybrid or a green mana. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard, and or ally cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and it is a 4/6. So I poo-pooed Kenrith when I first saw him because I didn't think that he would really be playable. I can't really do that with Tajuru just because of the Kenrith effect, in my opinion. Kenrith was a really good commander. Tajuru could be a really good commander, especially when you have an infinite mana loop. You don't even need infinite mana loop with colored mana, you just need generic mana, unlike Kenrith. So you can continuously just cycle through your deck and get all the clerics, rogues, wizards, and warriors out that you want, and that's really fun to me. Our next card is Spoils of Adventure. It's 4 generic, a white, and a blue for an instant uncommon. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each creature in your party. That's up to only casting for a white and a blue for an instant. You gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. Survival itself is no small reward. So the thing about this is that normally you're not going to have all 4, in my opinion, except for there is this one card that breaks party, and I'll show it to you later. Normally you're just going to have a cleric and a rogue out, or a warrior and a wizard, or, you know, a combination of probably just 2. So for 4 mana is how I would like to see this card, just to put it in the middle. You gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. So that's really good for 4 mana. I don't know, like, necessarily, I guess it's on curve for 6 mana with a Azorius coloring. But I just would rather at least play it for 4 mana. Otherwise, I feel like it's not worth it. But that's just me, you know? Our next card is Cliffhaven Sellsword. It is a 1 generic, 1 white creature core. That's right, core. That creature type is coming back. Warrior, common. I swing a sword, it's a simple life. A lot of adventurers just see me as some cheap muscle, but if my skill lets them return home with their lives and limbs intact, then I've done my job. And it's a 3/1. So, nothing really to say other than they're bringing cores back, which is awesome. Speaking of cores, Farsight Adept, 2 generic and a white for a creature core wizard, and it is a common. When Farsight Adept enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each draw a card. I've walked every one of the teetering peaks and never set a foot wrong. I can get you to safety, and it is a 3/3, 4/3 that draws you and target opponent in a card. I don't really see this seeing play outside of maybe Standard, just because it's a 3/3 for 3 that draws you a card in Standard, and white has an issue with drawing cards, is the only reason I would even see it in Standard. And that's what I gotta say about that card. Our next card is Linvala the Band, also known as Linvala Shield of Seagate. 1 generic, 1 white, 1 blue for a legendary creature, Angel Wizard. Rare. It has flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, choose target non-land permanent an opponent controls until your next turn. It can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Sacrifice Linvala. Choose Hexproof or Indestructible. Creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn, and it is a 3/3. Now, I see this being played in Standard just for a flying 3/3 that can be sacrificed to give all your other creatures indestructible or hexproof. Mainly, you're going to pick indestructible unless they're exiling your stuff. Then you're going to do hexproof if it's targeted exile. But as far as Commander, I really don't see this except for maybe possibly in the 99. Just because I don't really see you wanting to play her as your commander. You're not going to necessarily get off that party mechanic. Because you need all of the party to be there to do that. And I just don't see that happening. But even then, you only sideline one of your opponent's creatures until your next turn. So it's not the best. I wish they would have did better with Linvala. But, I mean, after having to get the last one banned, I guess we can't say anything. You know? Anyways. Aura, Skyclave Hierophant. 2 generic and a white and a black. Legendary creature, core cleric rare. Lifelink. When a raw Skyclave Hierophant or another cleric you control dies, return target cleric card with lesser CMC from your graveyard to the battlefield. The Skyclaves are our inheritance, and it is a 3/3. Now, the reason why I'm excited for Aura to be in Standard is because Illuminous Bloodmoth and Midnight Prophet should not cycle out, if I'm correct. And that makes it to where not only can you reoccur clerics, but you can double reoccur clerics, and then you can also have this totem effect while reoccurring your clerics, where what I mean by totem effect is, like, he's 4 CMC, have a cleric that's 3 CMC, 2 CMC, 1 CMC. So every single time that the 4 dies, the 3 comes, the 3 dies, the 2 comes, the 2 dies, the 1 comes. And it's just a continuous cycle and a lot of recursion, a lot of fun. And I just would love to see that, and I'm looking forward to playing that in Standard. As far as Commander, you know, you can think of this maybe going to like the Aetheros deck that has the Shadowborn Prophets, because I believe they're clerics, and just continuously reoccurring Shadowborn Prophets by, I guess, not necessarily continuously reoccurring them, but just having another cleric to be able to get back your clerics. I guess that's the only way. I don't know. I really want to see him work with the Shadowborn Prophets. I just don't know exactly how I would do that yet. Merfolk Windrabber. 1 blue mana for a creature Merfolk Rogue, uncommon, flying. When Merfolk Windrabber deals combat damage to a player, that player mills a card. And then it explains milling a card for the first time in forever. Sacrifice Merfolk Windrabber. Draw a card. Activate this ability only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in your graveyard. In their graveyard. And it is a 1/1 flyer that mills 1 card at a time. I really don't see it being played. And that sacrifice ability is dumb. I don't like it. Ooh, excuse me. Zerif Son, the Trickster. 3 generic, a blue and a black for a legendary creature Merfolk Rogue rare. It has flash. It has 2 generic, a black and a blue. To return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its owner's hand. Put Zerif Son, the Trickster, from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Whenever Zerif Son deals combat damage to a player, you may put target permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and Zerif Son is a 4/4. So, Flash is cool. I like Flash. The Ninjutsu, which is exactly what that ability is really cool. And then the last thing is being able to use your opponent's permanents, not even just creatures, but permanents from their graveyards against them is really cool. I call this card the baby of the legendary creature whose last part is Tiger Claw, the ninjutsu legendary creature that I can never think of the name of, and in Thief of Sanity. God, I don't know why that one took me a minute to remember. And Thief of Sanity. So basically, those 2 cards together equal Zerif Son the Trickster, and I dig it. I love it, and whatever his sword's doing over there. Spitfire Lagok, 3 generic and a red for a creature lizard common. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Spitfire Lagak deals 1 damage to each opponent. And it is a 3/4. Really not going to see play because of its high CMC in red. It's cool to see landfall being able to deal 1 damage to each opponent, but it's really not going to see play. Gnarlid Colony, 1 generic and 1 green for a creature beast common. Love that they made this card a common. Kicker, 2 generic and a green. If Gnarlid Colony was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2/1/1 counters on it. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. Where mana flows, the Gnarlids follow, and it is a 2/2. The reason I love this card is that it gives you a reason to play +1/+1 counters and just absolutely trample out your opponent. It's a day late and a dollar short though, because Proliferate's about to leave Standard with Simic. Gale. I think it was Ravnica Allegiance that Simic came in, and that was all about Proliferate. And War of the Spark even had a little bit of proliferation. So +1/+1 counters and Proliferate are about to come out of Standard. It would have been nice to have them in Standard for just a second, so Gnarlid Colony would have a place to really be in stride. I love that this card is common, because normally for that ability of +1/+1 counters on it and has trample, or +1/+1 counters on it, creatures you control, and they have trample. And normally you don't see that as a common, an uncommon, yet alone a common. Normally you would see that in a rare or mythic. So that's interesting that they did this. Might of Murasa, 1 generic and 1 green, instant common, has the kicker cost of 2 generic and a green. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, that creature gets +5/+5 until end of turn instead. The continent of Murasa is defined by irrepressible growth, both natural and otherwise. This card won't see play outside of draft. It's just not good enough. Just not good enough. Grotag Bugcatcher. 1 generic, 1 red, creature goblin warrior common. It has trample. Whenever Grotag Bugcatcher attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each creature in your party. Everybody, grab a leg, and it's a 1/2. Really, it's a 2/2 for trample because it's a warrior itself. But I really don't see this seeing play either, unless there's some type of goblin tribal. Then maybe. Expedition Diviner, 3 generic and a blue for a creature Merfolk Wizard common. It has flying. As long as you control another wizard, Expedition Diviner has when this creature dies, draw a card. Wizard spells twist the fabric of reality to channel elemental energies, peer into the future, and even calm the royal. And it is a 3/2. For all that cool flavor text there, it is a sucky wizard, and I would not play with this card. Zulaport Duelist, 1 blue mana, creature human rogue common. It has flash. When Zulaport Duelist enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature gets -2, -0 until end of turn. Its controller mills 2 cards, and it is a 1/1. I really don't like the drawback of milling 2 cards just to have a 1/1 flash rogue. But I guess it could see play just for it being a rogue, yet alone having flash. I think it could see play. Kabira Outrider, 3 generic and a white for a creature human warrior common. When Kabira Outrider enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature in your party. Ondu Moaz make wildly uncomfortable mounts, but for determined warriors, their speed is enough to make up for it, and it is a 3/3. Again, just a dumb party card that will probably not get played, but it has an ostrich on it, so it's kind of fun. Here's the only party card I think that will get played. Tajuru Paragon. 1 generic, 1 green, creature elf rare. Tajuru Paragon is also a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. It has a kicker. Uh, 3 generic. When Tajuru Paragon enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a card that shares a creature type with it from among them into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order, and it is a 3/2. Yeah, being a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard, it makes up a party by itself, and that is ridiculous. The other cool part about this is that it's kind of like Tajiri from earlier. It's just a dumbed down version of Tajiri with its kicker, but I still dig it. I love it, and it's probably the only reason why you'll see party. This card and the next card make turn 3 party decks are just going to be retarded. And here it is, right here. Coveted prize, 4 generic and a black, sorcery, rare. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each creature in your party. Up to the fact that it is 4 generic cheaper to play it, meaning it costs 1 black. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. If you have a full party, you may cast the spell with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Yes, that means you can play a 1 black mana tutor and instantly cast a 4 CMC or less card from your library. That is broken. In standard? Super broken. Drana, the Last Blood Chief, 3 generic and 2 black, legendary creature vampire cleric. It is of mythic rarity. It has flying. When Drana, the Last Blood Chief attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that card to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. That creature is a vampire in addition to its other types, and it is a 4/4. So I don't really see this seeing a lot of play just outside of standard because it's a 4/4 flyer for 5 mana. I really hate vampires that don't have lifelink just because it's such a vampire-esque type of thing to have lifelink, in my opinion. But on top of that, giving the defending player a choice of doing a non-legendary creature is kind of dumb, unless you're playing politics. Then you can be like, hey, I have an acidic slime. Would you like to bring my acidic slime back so we can get rid of that enchantment that's absolutely killing the game? Other than that, I really I wish they would have did better with Drana. I really do. Confounding Conundrum. 1 generic, 1 blue, enchantment rare. When Confounding Conundrum enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to its owner's hand. Yes, that means if you try to ramp, you net 0. You net 0 for trying to ramp. Yeah, I like this card because it's an anti-ramp card. I haven't seen a lot of those in a while. I don't think I've ever seen an anti-ramp card in standard. It draws you a card for 2 mana, which is by itself pretty good. Radical Idea draws you a card for 2 mana. So, yeah. And then also, the only issue with this card is that it could also cause, if your opponent's playing a landfall deck, them to absolutely win the game. So, do keep in mind, if they're playing a landfall deck, you might not want to play this card. You might want to give this card away. Get rid of it, put it in your 15 or your sideboard. Windrider Wizard. 2 generic and a blue, creature human wizard. Uncommon. It has flying. Whenever you cast an instant sorcerer or wizard spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. I believe they call that Rummage. I really don't like this card for that matter. It's a 2/2 flying wizard that rummages. Ew. It's an ideal method for exploring sky ruins. The drakes sniff me briefly, but then lose interest. Yeah, I don't really like that card. Before I leave this page, though, I do want to ask y'all, in the comment section below, let me know what y'all think about Confounding Conundrum, because I don't know how I feel about it. Like I said, it's cool to see an anti-ramp card in standard for the first time in a while. I just don't know how I feel about it, so let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Tajuru Blightblade. 1 green for a creature, elf, rogue, common, Death Toucher. It is a 1/1 Death Toucher in green that is not a snake. So cool. Aura Ondar, the Colony Garden, is a lush tangle of growth in the harsh lands of Akum. Its plant growth is marvelously diverse, a brilliant spectrum of vibrant life and speedy death. This is the first time I've said that out of the 4 or 5 times I've recorded this, where I didn't mess up on how to say Ondar, Colony Garden, or Akum. So I just want y'all to appreciate me saying Aura, Ondar, Colony, Garden, and Akum. Thank you for indulging me. Cleric of Life's Bond. 1 white, 1 black for a creature vampire cleric, and it is uncommon. Whenever another cleric enters a battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. When you gain life for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Cleric of Life's Bond. No gods, only each other, and it is a 2/2. So the reason I like this card is because of Aura. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't like this card because he makes me think that you'll see just a ton of recursion of clerics, and to be able to continuously have clerics re-entering the battlefield over and over and over and over again, gaining you 1 life each time, and doing +1/+1 counters once per turn for this creature. That's kind of good in my opinion. So I really hope that it works out like that. That sounds so much fun. Legion Angel. 2 generic and 2 white mana for a creature, Angel Warrior rare. It has flying. When Legion Angel enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card from a card you own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into your hand. It is a 4/3 flying angel for 4 mana, which is already bad to me. Yet alone the fact that since it's coming outside of the game instead of like your library, it doesn't filter your deck, which is dumb. I needed to at least filter my deck. The other thing I have an issue with is that there is no outside of the game for Commander unless you're playing a friendly game. Then that's up to your playgroup, obviously. And in Standard, that means he has to take place in the 15 or the sideboard, and I just don't see the reason for that. So I don't like that. I hate when they do that unless it's a wish card, and even then wish cards are broken, so nobody likes wish cards. I don't know. Some people were hyped about it on the Discord I'm a part of for my local game store. They were hyped for this Legion Angel, and I'm just like, why though? Other than him looking like a total pimp, I don't see why people are really hyped for it. So let me know in the comments below if you guys can explain that to me, why people would be hyped about this Legion Angel. I really don't see it. Our next card is Tajuru Snarecaster. It's a 2 generic green, 2 generic and a green creature, elf, rogue, common. It has reach, and it's a 1/4. Elves of the Tajuru nation spend their lives in the ancient, dotty trees, expansive canopies, some living and dying without ever touching the ground. I really, it's a 1/4 reach, 3-drop, so I just don't see it really seeing play outside of draft. Palaka Caverns. It's a land, it's an uncommon, and it comes in tapped as a swamp. As a child, I was afraid of the dark. Now I'm afraid of the things I know are lurking in the dark, waiting to bite my head off. Sneeful Bricks Expedition Rogue. This is the other side of it, Palaka Predation. It's 2 generic and a black for a sorcery uncommon. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a card from it with converted mana cost 3 or greater. That player discards that card. I knew we shouldn't have come this way. Sneeful Bricks Expedition Rogue. So I like Palaka Predation, and I like the ability to obviously make it into Palaka Caverns if I need the mana. The only issue I have here is the only other card I know with the word Palaka in it is Palaka Worm, and it's a green card, and this is a black card. And like Palaka Worm to me is one of the most best known green cards, probably past like Llanowar Elves. So it just kills me that they put Palaka in the name of a word and it isn't green. I don't know why, but that really just bugs me a lot. I do love that both of these pictures are of him getting swallowed by this worm, and that's super cool. I love the artwork on this. It kind of makes me feel like I'm seeing Dead by Daylight, where the claws try to get you while you're on the hook. If you play that game, shout out to Dead by Daylight. That was a pretty fun game. The next card is Jace Mirror Mage. It is 1 generic and 2 blue mana for a legendary Planeswalker Jace Mythic Rare. Has kicker. The kicker cost is 2 generic. When Jace Mirror Mage enters the battlefield, if Jace was kicked, create a token that's a copy of Jace Mirror Mage. Except it's not legendary, and its starting loyalty is 1 generic. I keep saying that. 1 loyalty. +1 Scry 0 cost, draw a card and reveal it. Remove a number of loyalty counters equal to that card's converted mana cost from Jace Mirror Mage. And it is 4 loyalty for 3 or 4 loyalty for 5, and you get an extra one with 1 loyalty. So I really would like to mention that if you do this, in my opinion, you have 2 choices if you want to do the kicker. Otherwise, go ahead, play your Mirror Mage for 3 mana. It's a 4 loyalty Planeswalker that does not protect itself, but draw you a card. The thing I would like to do is I would make it to either where I instantly kill my 1 loyalty Jace by zeroing him out. More than likely it's going to instantly kill him. If not, then that's a land or a Ornithopter, and I was able to get a free draw off of him, and I'll probably kill him the next turn. Or you can do the opposite and +1 him to Scry, making sure that you don't have to kill your original Jace Mirror Mage, the legendary one. And that's what I think would probably be best, just so that you can continuously keep those 2 together out. So, I really think it's best to scry 2 with your 1 loyalty Jace Phantasm. I guess so that I don't get confused, I'll call him a Phantasm. And then, use the 0 ability after you know for a fact from scrying that you're not going to kill your original Jace Mirror Mage. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. 2 generic, a red and a white for a legendary Planeswalker Nahiri, Mythic Rare. +1, create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token. You may attach an equipment you control to it. -2, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then -3. Nahiri deals damage to target creature or Planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment you control, and it is 4 loyalty for a 4 CMC legendary Planeswalker Nahiri. So the +1 instantly protects itself. -2 draws you a card. That alone will make it a playable card, if not a really good Planeswalker in Standard, especially when all the good Planeswalkers are about to get cycled out. In my opinion, the good Planeswalkers are about to get cycled out from War of the Spark. The -3 ability I'll probably never use, but it's at least a utility that you can have. I'm really hoping that there will be equipment that's worth a darn in Standard. The +1, especially in Commander, where you have some equipment that's like, high equipment cost, that +1 makes it a lot better for Nahiri. Or for you to be able to just go ahead and equip it to a 1/1 white core warrior and have some fun. I think it was Colossal Hammer that was like, I don't know, it was a +8/+8, and I think it was 8 mana. I'm not really sure how much the equipment cost was, but I remember it was a pretty high equipment cost. And just to be able to go ahead and equip that to a 1/1 core warrior, that's kind of funny. Plus the fact that she makes warriors, which is part of the party system. So there's that. The next card is arguably a way better Planeswalker in my opinion. Nissa of Shadowed Boughs. 2 generic and 1 black, 1 green mana, legendary Planeswalker Nissa, Mythic Rare, Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Nissa of Shadowed Boughs. +1, untap target land you control. You may have it become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste and menace until end of turn. It's still a land. You untap a land, which is a ramp, and you can choose to make a creature. You don't have to, which is good, so you don't instantly kill your creature off by having targeted removal for creatures from your opponent. The only thing I wish is that you could make that creature, or that land a creature until your next turn. But the next ability kind of makes up for it. So, -5, you may put a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2+1/+1 counters on it. And that's really good and broken, and I love it. So, you, on turn 5, play Nissa of Shadowed Boughs for 4 mana. Then you put a land down. Now she has 5 loyalty, right? And then you -5 and get your good card from your graveyard or your hand, and it instantly comes out with 2+1/+1 counters on it. That's pretty good. I think that's worth a Planeswalker's death. You know what I mean? I think it's worth a Planeswalker death. I can't think of in Standard right now, or even the last time I played Standard. What a broken, I guess, there was that blue-white creature with, like, you can tap it, and it gives you hexproof, and every single time it had lifelink. It was 3/5, I wish I could remember it, but every single time it dealt damage, also drew you a card. So, there's that card that's pretty good by itself, and definitely worth a Planeswalker's death, but that's also not in these colors, so, I don't know. Y'all let me know. What do you think would be a creature in Standard right now worth a Planeswalker's death? I'd love to hear from you guys. The next cards are just going to be the Pathway cards. Let me move my mouse out of the way. The next cards are just going to be the Pathway cards. These are the dual-sided modal DSCs, which is the new dual-sided dual lands from this set. So here we have Crag's Crown and Timber Crown. We have Pillar Verge and Needle Verge. I love when cards mirror each other like this. Oh, it looks so perfect. What I have lined up there even looks even better. Boulder Loft and Branch Loft. Lava Glide and River Glide. This looks so sick. I love it. I love it so much. And of course they had to make an Izzet. They only made 6 of these, and one of them is Izzet. Bright Climb and Grim Climb. I love this one just because of the little pilgrim that's on there. It looks so good. I'm gonna need to get some of these alternate art ones. Clearwater Pathway and Murkwater Pathway, I think, are the last ones. So guys, let me know what y'all think about these new dual-sided lands as well. I'm debating whether I think they're worth better than the temples or not. They do come in untapped. Like this one, it basically is an island or a swamp, depending on what you want to put on the battlefield. I wish it had the basic land types, but that's asking a lot, especially with the fetch lands about to get a reprint in Modern Horizons 2 next year, I think is when they said they were going to do that. I might have heard that wrong, and it might be the box topper for the set, actually, I think. Or the expeditions. Yes, it's the expeditions for this set, if I'm not mistaken. I watched the stream once. I think that's what they said. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I'm really excited for this set. Zendikar is one of my favorites. Right behind Innistrad, which they just announced is coming out in a year from this set. Oh my god, I cannot wait for Zendikar. Or, excuse me, Innistrad. But please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. For all you guys that have been here a while and know me, I do apologize for the gap in videos. I know it's been a while, and y'all probably thought I was dead. But, pandemic, and my brother got married, and I had so much on my plate at one time. I was just coming home and basically sleeping when I was home. So now I have a little more time to myself. I'm going to get back into making videos. I actually have a sponsor. It's not Wizards, but it is a Magic the Gathering product, not from Wizards. I think you guys are really going to dig. I'm going to give it just a minute before I really announce them, because they're in the works with me at the moment. But I'm really excited for my new sponsor. And yeah, just keep an eye out for that. It's going to be something really cool. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that usual YouTube stuff. And this is Sneaky Narcotic, signing off.